What is up, everyone? Today we have Echo PB-500T. Has a couple problems. One being it doesn't turn over, and two, the fuel line fell off inside of it. And the owner wants a general tune-up if it gets running, so let's see if that's even a possibility first. Okay. It's completely seized. Let us take out the spark plug and see if it's something to do with maybe like a hydro lock or something not detrimental. Ooh, orange. Maybe it's rust in there. It's a good possibility. Let's just give it a nice coating. Oil. So I want to take off the pull board. Yeah, but you are in the way. Even this is rusted on there. Okay. Getting somewhere. Maybe. And that just came loose. That's just gonna keep on loosening. So I had to go and do a few things. Maybe the oil had time to kind of get further in there. That's maybe good or bad. It definitely seems to get hung up. I'm gonna do a little more oil. Just do the direct approach. Unfortunately, the direct approach is almost always the dirty approach. oil popped out. That's good. Means it's moving past that point. Do you ever watch those YouTube channels that are like about, I don't know, anything besides video games? Like, let's say, like, modification of exhaust or welding or, I don't know, something like that. And the next thing you know, they stop in the middle of their video to say, while we're waiting for this to cool, I want to talk to you about this brand new video game that you can get on your cell phone. You're like, I don't, what? Now, if I'm watching a video game channel, I would expect to see probably something like that. It just seems very odd. I don't know why. Borderline irritating. But I will just come out and say this now. I will not be doing that. Granted, I don't think I will ever get anything or opportunity to do that, but let's say if I did, I most definitely would do one that at least was normal. I don't think I ever will, to be honest. There's not a nut on there, that's the annoying part. I mean, it's definitely freed up now. It has its grindy area still, but it's nowhere near what it used to be. Maybe a smaller set now. Usually, if you can just get enough oil in there, you just kind of get it working around, and it usually corrects itself, assuming it wasn't scored for running of straight gas. If you do run it with straight gas, okay, so I think it's pretty good now. I think it was just a little weather seized. I really would like to put a wrench or a drill on this, but I don't think that's in the cards. Maybe we spin it the other way, what happens? Well, let's put on the pull start again. Let's see if I can at least pull start it. Granted, it's going to be a tad bit on the oily end. Well, it already is on the oily end right now. That marble definitely worked its way out on the first flash. But I'd rather have the problem of having to clean up oil than the problem of a busted engine. I don't really want to wear this, so let's just put this right here. see what happens when I pull it out the cover. Now that it's mostly evacuated, or not, well, there's going to be a decent amount in there, which isn't a horrible thing, but let's put a tad of fuel in there. That's why you're over there, so you don't rattle your way off. Let's move this stuff out of the way. And where's the plug that came out? Is it hiding? It's hiding, isn't it? No, there it is. We do not want choke on. Let's try to do as much full throttle as we can. I don't know which one's off though. I think off is the other way, but let's see what happens. That was a tad bit smoky, but it runs, so that's good. I have to turn the fan on. So, let's get to the real work. So it still kind of looks like a 90s rock concert in here, but onward and forward. Oh, there's two. So this is a interesting carburetor. Let's just put it this way. These are known to have problems. It's actually not a bad filter at all. But it is an excellent blower. This is one of the very first backpack ones I've ever owned. Maybe I'm partial to it because of that reason, but I definitely like them. Only reason why I don't still have that one is because I have 3 very large trees that I like to make their presence known every November, and I am a tad on the OCD end of picking up leaves, so I don't also want to be out there all day long. So I got a bigger one. What is holding this thing up? Oh, what am I doing? That just took off the cover. I didn't even have to take this off. I'm sure my neighbors love me too. 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. But to be fair, I would have done it earlier because I still wake up early anyway, so I'm being very nice. Do some research. Okay, looks like it's at 5:30 seconds. I'll take this off and be right back. Okay. So So our interruptions galore right now. Anyway, so this has a tendency of just kind of not being able to idle. And it's a good possibility being a carb issue. I mean, it probably is a carb issue, but it's not always a carb issue. Sometimes it's a seal issue, but that's not too common. It's usually a carb issue. And for whatever reason, this carb, now that comes off, is insanely expensive. Crack the tank just in case. I don't think there's going to be much fuel, but who knows. Having said that, I do like it. There's definitely a few things I don't like about it. One, the incredibly large amount of fuel line that's on here. It's like 2 feet almost. That's just a lot of line to run into problems with in the future. Doesn't look too dirty. Let's go to the carb station. Let's take the fuel out. You can tell that something's wrong. This primer bulb is like overextended. I don't see a dot though. So, the person that owns this is a neighbor, and he's a professional landscaper, I believe. He's a real nice guy. Every time he comes and gets something, he usually brings beer. Sometimes he brings beer without bringing anything over. And he doesn't, I don't know, just a real nice guy. So, I'm going to try out one of those Walbro Spiral Kits to see if it fits, because technically, according to the claim, it should be the last carburetor kit that you ever have to put in there. Well, yes, you might still have to do carburetor work. You shouldn't have to get another kit, minus maybe a gasket. Usually that overpressurized primer bolt issue is part of this. It's actually not too bad. It's dirty in there, if you can see. Probably not. Sounds like there's a fire somewhere. Just continue on. I'll do that later. Get a knife. Actually looks really good too. Now, I got a normal carb kit for this too, but I wanted to see if the other one would work. Okay, well, let's take off this. I tell you, it's like the day of interruptions. Okay, so let's go back. Maybe just because it doesn't have a dot, we will still try using the, yeah. I mean, I guess it is echo, so that makes sense. Well, actually, the other ones didn't have a dot. Oh, and this one's done. Okay. Some of the Echo carbs have this tiny little brass piece that likes to fall off and get lost. Okay, nothing. Looks like we have a little C-clip. I'm not going to want to put this little arm in the clean. That was amazingly lucky. It ricocheted off me. Back onto the table. So inside there's two small D screws. I can take them out because this isn't very dirty, and usually with those I find you have a very high likelihood of stripping them. That's something I do not want to do, for obvious reasons. That's too big. I don't know if this can come out. That's too small. But if it can come out, I would like it to. That's too big. That's just a hair too big. Well, I guess we try this one. Let's not worry about that. And put this in the carb cleaner, bring you back. Got this out. Made sure to blow out the main. Let's see what we have here for the kit. Okay, we have where's the other one? Let's see here. I don't know. Let's open up the other one. So this is a spiral kit. I never put one in this type of carb before though, but it's made by Walbro. It's supposed to be good for ethanol fuels. use that. But I think that will work. Yeah, I think so. Very nice. So, here we go. Let me get that out and we'll compare. Okay, so I got this all cleaned. Now, according to the instructions, we have to take the spring put it on as normal. Wow, there's a lot of background noise. I'm about to just shut the garage door. And then we take the needle, and there's a special you can tell there's like a ramp compared to the other one. So we have to take the other old one, discard it, take the needle, put that back in, with the pin, that pin seems awfully tight though. Doesn't seem right. Is there a pin in here? No. Is there one in here, maybe? No. So far, this isn't very impressive. Look at the old one. Oh yeah, the old one's like butter. Let me see if I haven't. No, because then the length has to be the same. Let me check. So, good news is I have a Carb Kit. Bad news is it still doesn't fit. I went through like a couple of them, a couple empty ones, a couple full ones. This just does not fit. I went through a couple of things on the internet, and this kit does not come with a pin. So what we need to do, put this back in the bag, put this back in the bag. We will do another one. I do have another version of this. Let's see. I mean, it's the same thing, but yeah, no, there's no pin. Well, that sucks. Oh well. So now I have to get out the old kit and do this. But the only difference between those two is that the diaphragm, which is, I don't want to say the only thing that goes wrong, it's definitely a thing that likes to go wrong quite frequently. but the diaphragm will get hard. This one has a piece of metal, has a spring on it. So just because it was the last thing to come off, let's put this back on. Why don't we? It's not like, you know, it's going to be a horrible thing. It's just, it would have been better if we could do it, but oh well. Today has been the day of noise. I literally had to turn you off a couple times. Some guy decided to ride down with his motorcycle pretty loud. Then as soon as that stopped, someone else decided to do more or less the same thing, except with a car. Which, okay, whatever. I used to have a few loud vehicles in my time. But then, out of nowhere, like 4 airplanes just started showing up. I live fairly close to a small airport, but I never really hear them. It's like those that you just see like private airplanes go to. It's not a disruption, it's a noise. Okay, let's see if this still works appropriately. Looks pretty good to me. That just opens up for more air. Okay, next. This is going to be the choppiest video I think I've made in a long time. Turned around, and your battery's dead. At least this kit is a complete kit. Sometimes they don't come with additions like this. But these are fairly important. You want to make sure that you have this. This one is also in there, but it's not going to come off very easily. Hopefully this doesn't have that idle problem I was talking about. People will say it's the carburetor, but trust me, I've cleaned them, replaced them with the real ones. It never seems to work. Do a leak down test. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Because on a 2-cycle, the crank seals, if they go bad, will definitely cause a problem. They'll let too much air in. Let me clean this up and be right back. Okay, so that's all cleaned up on the wire wheel. So now I can put this on. Anyway, the crank seals will go bad over time, and you'll get a lean condition because the bottom of the 2-cycle in the crank area is actually part of the fuel delivery. When you inject fuel into the engine, it's not going into the combustion chamber. It's going into the underside of the crank. That's how it lubricates itself. And then once it's going down, it will push that fuel into the combustion chamber at that point through some channels. Because as the combustion chambers, as the piston's going down, the combustion chamber's getting less pressure in there, and it's exhausting at the same time, while the bottom is getting a higher pressure, which is going to cause the fuel to go into the combustion chamber at that point. So if you have a leak, it's going to be a little hard, to say the least. I don't know. To run properly, you might be able to get going on a what's this? This looks pretty small. I didn't see this. Maybe this did come from the other one. Oh no, I caught that one. Oh, I almost forgot. Very important piece. This little spring goes right there. But it's going to be hard to start it too. You're going to have to be holding down the throttle while you're trying to start it every single time. Then you're going to have to push the throttle down throughout the entire time, so then your idle is going to be super high. That's usually not good, especially depending on the application. If it's a chainsaw, it means your chain's constantly going. That's never good. This is a real small one. I have a feeling the neighbor kid across the street is buying a new car. Well, new to him. Okay. Oh, I should put this in with the kit. Those are useful to have. I already have one or two, but next, let's put the gasket on. Then we have so this is pretty easy. This is probably the reason why the primer bulb had a lot of pressure in it. It's a little check valve that will sometimes go bad. That goes like this. There we go. So I'm going to put this snug but not tight, and then I'll tighten it up once I get all of them done. Okay, let's tighten them up. Not super tight though, I mean, you don't need to break anything. There we go. Double check. Squishy, squishy. All the extra parts are normal. I think we're set. This does what it's supposed to. Do this side. Perfect. Let's put it back on and get a new fuel line. Okay, so I don't really like doing fuel line parts because it's just a lot of struggle and time, but basically took out the grommet, put a new fuel line in. This side really doesn't matter because it's a return. You do have to put the fuel line through the hole and then put it in and then shove it down. This will not fit through there. Okay, so we put it back in and then just reconnect the carb and we'll put some fuel and see what happens. Okay, so fuel is in, primed it, plug is still good. We have another one, but it's one of those cheap Savior ones. I don't know. I'd rather just keep the one in there. That's an NGK, and just besides the little rust residue on there, it was fine. It's probably still gonna be smoky, but let's give it a few yanks. Because the fuel line is like a mile long, you do have to prime it a lot. So when you first put fuel in, you'll probably push the primer bulb like 10-12 times. So beware. Cold start is down. This should be on the idle right now. Okay, it's finally, it doesn't look like a, Cheech and Chong were in here anymore, so that's good. But, yeah, it runs pretty decent. Carb rebuild seems to be successful. It doesn't seem to have the idle death problem. You can't really see it, but there was a whole bunch of like dust and dirt that was being just blown away at the end of the tube. And the throttle seems fairly decent. I'll put a link in the description below for all the parts I used. The Spiral Kit, well, I didn't use it, but I'll still link it. The Carb Kit, and I think it's the air filter kit that came with a fuel filter as well. But I do want to say is if you have the original carb, don't get rid of it unless you have an idle problem. The cheap ones you find on the internet are exactly that, cheap. Don't buy one, just buy the kit and actually rebuild it. It's not that hard, as you can tell. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Well, if you found this informative or helps you out any at all, definitely throw a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe. I'll catch everyone later. Put a comment below if you have any questions. Have a good night.